It has been said that if there is no vision, the people will perish. Have you ever heard that? Some of us may have. It's a statement from the book of Proverbs in the Bible. And when we look more deeply at it and understand what it meant when it was said so long ago, we find out that the Hebrew word for vision actually means divine revelation. The word perish actually means to become wild or lawless. Takes on a little different meaning, doesn't it? When we understand this, it becomes a little bit of a warning that without spiritual connection, we can get lost in the world of effects trying to change things and not get those lasting results that we're looking for. When we don't listen to Spirit's guidance, we can flounder around out there in the world of effects, trying to do it on our own, independent beings that we are. The end of the verse, though, is, but the working of the law is blessed. Has anybody had that experience? That when we align ours with spiritual truth, with spiritual law as we teach around here, that our lives seem to flow a little bit better, that we do feel more blessed. Would you agree? Yeah. Today we're beginning the next step in our year-long journey called Life by Design. And the next step is a vision for your life. So this month we're going to be looking at the vision of our lives and then figure out how we can begin to live that vision. That's what we're going to be exploring all month. Today's message is plug into power. Plug into power. Now, I'm not talking about that power on the wall. I'm talking about universal power that we have access to as part of the oneness that God is. Have you ever participated in crafting a vision statement for a company? A lot of startup companies will do this, or maybe a more established company that's going through a transition or a change in the way they're doing business. They will want to craft a new vision statement. A vision statement is aspirational, inspirational, future oriented, so that it's something, it's not what we're doing right now, it's what we're trying to become. It's what we're trying to do in the future. It's why we're doing what we're doing. That's really the idea of vision. It's a statement of what we do. Now, our vision statement for this center that we just read a few minutes ago is a world that works for everyone. That's huge. I have no idea how to do it. If you think about how large our world is, and how many people we have who are independent thinkers about how life should be, that's a challenging statement, is it not? All of our centers have that statement within their vision statements, and our corporate home office organization has it as part of their vision of all of our centers for spiritual living. So while I don't know how to achieve it, I do know that what we do around here contributes to achieving that. A mission statement, the other thing we read this morning, that's a declaration of our core purpose, of our primary objectives. It's how we achieve the vision. It's the how part. And ours is to provide spiritual tools for community and personal transformation. So you can see how those work together. That the vision is a world that works for all. And by empowering us with the tools of transformation for ourselves and our communities, that supports that vision. So one day we believe we will get there. Can you believe that with me? Hold that vision with me. Yes. All right. All right. A vision for our lives, you can see, is just as important, maybe more so, than a vision for our companies and communities. We need an aspiration and inspiration for our lives, that which we can measure our decisions, our challenges, things like that against? Does that fit my vision? Does this decision, does going in this direction, does making this choice fit the vision, that long-term goal of my life? It makes that decision making much more simple, doesn't it? Reverend Dr. Michael Angeles is credited with creating the visioning process, the spiritual visioning process that we use in our centers for spiritual living. He says we are pushed by pain until we are pulled by vision. Now I see some nods. Y'all maybe you've heard that. Well, I'm going to let you know that if you say that out there, that people go, "What are you talking about?" And I've come to realize that until we have an experience of visioning to know the power of it, we may not understand exactly what that means. Through the practice of visioning, we get a better understanding of this truth. Now, many of us, before we discovered this teaching, were operating entirely in the world of effects. And we may have been getting pushed around by our pain. And whatever the biggest pain was that we happened to have at that time was what got all of our attention. Anybody else besides me have that experience? Okay. Sometimes that meant that we were self-medicating with alcohol or drugs or whatever we chose at that point. Maybe we were playing relationship roulette. Sometimes we do that. Any coping mechanism that we came up with in order to ease that pain. By engaging in this teaching and the spiritual practices, we began to learn I can have a choice. I can choice. And I have power. I can access power to implement those choices in my life. Adding the visioning process is a way of accessing infinite intelligence. Does that sound like a good thing? Wow. What? What? Are you telling me I can access infinite intelligence? Yeah, we can. And we can receive creative ideas, inspiration for expanding our lives. We literally plug into the power that is greater than we are. Remember Ernest Holmes said that? There's a power greater than we are in the universe, and we can use it. Visioning is one of the ways that we can use this power. Now, the practice of visioning itself is just 5 questions. I can ask you those 5 questions right now, and you can answer them. But that's not what visioning is about, because those answers would be coming from your memory, your brain, your past experiences. Visioning allows us to open up to more, open up to something that we don't know about, something we've never experienced before, something we may have, some possibility we may never have considered in our lives ever before. It opens our minds to what's possible. It's about letting go, setting aside our agenda, our past, any belief that we have that principle is bound by precedent, anything. We just set all of that aside. Now, the usual way that we access spirit or law is through affirmative prayer. We recognize that spirit is all. You heard me do that a little bit ago. We recognize spirit is all that there is. We unify and align with that. And then we affirmatively speak our affirmation, claim our good in that moment. Visioning is more about surrender. Anybody heard of Ralph Waldo Emerson? He's got a really cool quote. He says, let us take our bloated nothingness out of the path of the divine circuits. Right? We get in the way. And visioning is the practice about helping us to get ourselves out of the way to hear spirit. To hear spirit, we must be willing to receive. Now, I think I'm always willing to receive. I'm always willing to hear. But there are times when I really want to do it my way and I get in the way and I look back and I go, wow, what was I thinking? What was I doing? So visioning helps us to remember that. The practice itself usually begins with a stillness, a meditation, a quieting of our minds and our bodies, a becoming fully present and aware. We let go of our agenda. We let go of our problems. We let go of our way. When I was taking candy striper training about 1.5 million years ago, the RN that was teaching it said something that has stuck with me all these millions of years. She said, when you are coming into the hospital, she said, take all of your troubles, all of your challenges, all of your problems, and put them in an imaginary paper bag right here outside the door. And then you come inside and you care for the patients. When you leave at night, you're welcome to pick that bag up and take it back home with you again. However, if you're done with it, you can leave it for the custodian and they'll take care of it for you. And that lesson stuck with me. And I think about visioning that way frequently, that it's about taking all of my chatter, all of my stuff, and setting that aside and allowing spirit to just draw pictures and write on the screen of my mind possibilities, ideas, colors, images. It's that allowing of that time. And it's quite powerful. We then can use those ideas for what's next. What's next? I've seen visioning used to come up with master plans for our county. Maricopa County has had visioning sessions where they invite the public in to vision. It's not a spiritual visioning, but it is a visioning, which in the secular world is done a little bit more with brainstorming. But they bring people in for collaborative ideas and a vision for our county. I've seen it used in our centers for programs, for expansion, for new locations. And I just give you a quick example. Many of you have heard the story of this center. This center is a manifestation from a vision. When I was in my final classes in ministerial school, our assignment was to write a report about our first ministry. Well, I didn't have any idea what my first ministry was. I just assumed I was going to take a letter of call at the center I happened to be attending at that time, and that I would be working there for a while until I retired at some point in my life. And so I was doing the assignment, and we had to create a budget. And so I needed to know how much rent I was going to pay. And they told us to pick a place in the world, wherever we'd like to live. This was imagination. Didn't have to be any place in particular. And I thought, well, Savannah, Georgia always sounded really nice. So I started, playing with Savannah, Georgia. And I have a real estate background, commercial real estate. And so I was looking at rents to put a budget number in. I realized I didn't know the area, to know the neighborhoods, to know if people would even want to come to this general area to attend a spiritual center. Or was this more of a not so nice warehouse district or something, right? And so I got frustrated in my efforts, and I closed my laptop and I went to meditation just to let it go. And I said, Spirit, what's your vision for my ministry? And it wasn't long until I saw neon, pink neon Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. And then an entire business plan was felt through me. I came out of that and I made some notes and I walked out of the room I was staying in with one of my classmates and she said, "Are you okay? You're white as a ghost." I said, "Not really." And I told her what happened. She got very excited and I'm still in shock. And sometimes the vision is so big that we're overwhelmed. That's when you know it's a good one. So the next day I presented it in class and got support there. And I got home and I chucked it in the top shelf. I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. That is not for me. Not now. Maybe later. Not now. So I took the letter of call at the other place. That was about August. September was okay. October, I got itchy. November, I got real itchy. Couldn't sleep. Was getting awakened in the middle of the night with ideas about her. And where I gave my notice and I left. And somehow, some way, everything came together for a brand new community to open its doors on Easter Sunday, April 5th, in 2015. Meanwhile, I was working full time. I had to set up everything for the corporation. I had groups coming together and meeting. We had financial support showing up. I had the perfect right people showing up to help us find the right location. We had a study group. We had a book study. I have no idea on this planet how I did that. I look back today and I have no clue how I did that. I couldn't do it again. But that is how Spirit works in our lives. Spirit gives us the vision and then gives us everything we need in order for that vision to manifest in our lives when we are present to it. The perfect right people, the perfect right financial connections, the perfect right everything begins to show up when we say yes. That's the power of visioning. It works when we can get out of the way, when we can surrender the how am I going to do this. If I don't get stuck in how, we wouldn't be here today. We just wouldn't. We listen, we allow it to flow through us, we allow the support to come to us. We say yes. We no longer need to be a people who perish, who try to do everything in the world of effects. We can have a vision, a divine revelation of our life. You can have that. You can have that. The vision for my life personally is that I am a living demonstration of the beliefs and the values that I hold in every area of my life. It's tough. That's tough to do in every area all the time. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I just know that my mission is to do it and to be present to it. Today is an opportunity for us to embrace this practice, whether we do it today in after service in our workshop, or whether you take it home and do it there. I do have some handouts for you. But either way, visioning is a powerful spiritual technology that will help you to live an envisioned future. Doesn't that sound better? To have a vision that you receive from Spirit as the guiding force of your life instead of trying to figure it all out here in the world of effects and do it all yourself. It's possible. There are no limitations to our lives except for the ones we say yes to. If we don't have a vision for our life, we are at the mercy of the world of effects. And the world of effects will define it for us, or tomorrow's headline. One of those will do it. Today, I'm inviting you to begin to design your life, to set the cornerstone for the building and the designing of your life. That cornerstone is what everything else is aligned off of. And the vision is where we start. And we start by asking, what is Spirit's vision of my life now? Ernest Holmes is the author of The Science of Mind. He says, vision is the ability to see the end in mind and proclaim it as your truth. It's like a blueprint. It is the ability to see what we wish to accomplish before we begin the task. The workshop we're going to have today at 1 o'clock is visioning. We're going to start with visioning, and then we're going to take that and put it into pictures on our vision board, which will then become a daily reminder for us of that vision so that we're fully present to it for the rest of this year as things begin to come to us. Because it's forefront of our mind, when we meet people, when things happen, we recognize it as part of the path of our vision, and we can receive it and use it in support of our vision. We each have available to us this universal power. It's an infinite source of creativity and ideas. All we have to do is receive. So let's look at how we can plug into this power with our spiritual practices and your homework for the week. It's simple. Practice visioning. As I said, I do have handouts for you up front. You can pick them up on your way out. It describes the process, gives you the questions, and just begin with the meditation and then answer the questions. Or I invite you all to stay for our vision board workshop at 1 o'clock today. The workshop is free. Lunch we're going to order. It's available for $10 if you would like to have lunch with us. The vision workshop itself will start at 1 o'clock. So those at home, if you want to come and join us, you're welcome to do so as well. When we can surrender. Does anybody else have a hard time with that? When we can surrender. Clear our minds of our existing ideas, my way, my agenda, and we get out of the way, then the universal power of spirit, creativity, new ideas can be seen, experienced, felt as us. So what is Spirit's vision of your life? So it is. Would you join me in prayer as we anchor this morning? As we just become still, just breathing out, allowing any tension to release from our body, and allow our thoughts, our mind, the chatter to just be still, and open our minds to be receptive to the source of all that is, that infinite power, that presence, love, absolute peace that passes all understanding. God itself, available and ever present to us, forever giving to and through its creation. And that is us. We are its creation. We are individualized and unique expressions of it, and united as one in this wholeness that life is. I speak my word for and about each of us, knowing, claiming, and accepting that the vision for our lives, the vision, the creativity, the inspiration that's available to us flows through us now. Those wonderful out of the blue things that Spirit gives us at all times. The love, the joy, the connections, We're so blessed. We're just so very blessed. And so I know that the visions that come to and through us, whether in our workshop today or later at home as we practice the spiritual technology, I know that those are visions of spirit and they're possibilities for us, and that each is equipped with all that is necessary for its complete and total manifestation through you, through your life, as your next greatest yet to be. And I know for anyone that has anything on their heart today, as they lift it into this prayer, lift it into the consciousness of this room, that we surround it with our love, our peace. And I know that whatever is needing to be clarified is clear, healed is healed, financial flow, whatever the need may be, I know that that is fulfilled right here, right now. And so it is with gratitude, joy, thanksgiving for it all that I release this prayer into the action and activity of mind, knowing that it's already done. And we affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is.